right, grand day, and thank you for keeping it locked. This your girl Shanae Levine, and I am here with the wonderful Marlow Rousseau of New Generation Barbershop. And today we have some things we want to discuss. The purpose of this podcast is to increase the morale of our community. We want to see our fellow barbers and stylists rise to a new level in structure, rise to a new level in skill set and community. If we don't come together, then who's going to do it? So I believe that barbers and stylists are pillars in the community when it comes to spreading information, when it comes to News Channel 12, when it comes to being the mediator or pastor or just a friend, whatever, to our clients. So we're going to start this conversation off with the history of barbering, because Marlow Rousseau here is a master barber, and we're here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Tell us a little bit about New Generations.
Well, New Generation, it started about 40 years ago. It wasn't New Generation Barbershop at the time. It was my dad. He would go to house, cutting hair, and I would go with him at the time as a kid. But it started to grow because he always used it as a pastime, little side hustle, making money, But as time went on, I began to become curious about it. And I asked him a question one day. I needed money. And he said, I can't guarantee to get rich, son, but he said, but I can teach you how to keep a few dollars in your pocket. So we started from there, and he taught me how to cut hair. And from that point, I started liking it because it made a difference. And I felt pretty good about it. And from that point, I just started cutting, and I noticed my clientele started growing. I was in high school at the time. And
so you started at what, 16 then?
Yeah, 15 years old.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. And, my clientele started increasing, and I guess I was getting pretty good at it.
You guess.
I guess, people were coming, I noticed my bus, the attendance on my bus had grew a little bit. People was coming to get that $5 haircut at the time. It was $5, so,
Wow.
So people was coming in, and, then from there, it took me through high school, actually. And then one of the guidance counselors we had come to the graduating point in high school, and guidance counselor called me to the office, and she was like, Marlo, what are you gonna do with yourself? I said, well, ma'am, I cut hair. And so she said, you're a barber? I said, yes, ma'am, I cut hair, I'm a barber. And I went to barber school, that was in 1991.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So when I first started writing up ideas around this, I put in from 1969, the history of barbering from 1969 to 2003. And even though that's a large span of time, we're going to kind of compact a lot of information in this 45 minutes here. So one of the things I wanted to touch on was trends. So we've been in the industry. I've been in the industry 15 years. You've been in the industry 30 years. Industry. And trends have, they change every decade, maybe every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, locks 10 years ago wasn't even as popular as it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like a dramatic change. It went from being able to walk in Walmart and you might see a few afros, braids, but you didn't really see a lot of people with locks. So maybe like 7 years ago, about 2011, no, that was a little later, 2015, something like that. You can go in Walmart and every other person has locks. I mean, it's just a big shift. And that's always been something. Locks was always something important up north, I guess, because they were more culturally. They had a lot more to work with, as far as just the different people they saw on a regular basis. You got Jamaicans, you got whoever it's Trinidadians, whatever. And here it's we got folks from here, country folk, whatever. So as far as barbering is concerned, what are some of the trends that you see? Has much even really changed?
Well, the styles have changed. You have your regular haircuts, of course, and then you have, in this
When
day
you
and
say
time,
regular cut, I mean like
the
a season, like what you
even,
have.
even all over, wavelength, something to that effect. Okay, but in this day and time, you still have your temp fades, but a lot of the guys, they're wearing it real knotty on the top and just faded on the sides. So therefore, it's not. That's the only thing that's changed, because the look. A lot of the guys not trying to look. How you want to say it?
Polished.
The neat look.
Well, they won't polish because they get in the
shape.
Yeah.
Now the detail. Yeah, the detail. They don't care nothing about the top. but it falls into the lock era though. The lock stage, because as they let it grow and they twist and things that's when they turn their dreads. So.
Do you feel like there's any spiritual connection from your side to what's happening now with how people are getting more free about their hair?
Well, I know the natural is definitely, the natural look has definitely came back. Okay, when I noticed a lot of that when the COVID shut down. Okay, the Black Lives Matter movement. A lot of the black athletes started just, almost like
Cam Newton.
Yeah, exactly.
It seemed like when Cam Newton decided not to touch his hair anymore, at least half of the younger generation. That goes back to trends.
Yeah, it was contagious.
Yeah,
it became contagious, and a lot of the guys they just started just busting out on the top. It's like a crown.
Almost like
a crown.
Have to look more into that one. So, and I noticed when you said fades. Okay, afros. Now, how many afros you say you cut? On a regular basis? Afros.
Afros is not that common, but like I said, the sponge and the twist and the locks. That's just where it's going today, because I can smooth out a top, but hey man, go ahead and sponge that for me, and knot it up. So but I'll smooth out a top from time to time. Give a client an option where they either sponge it or just wear it smooth. Something to that effect.
So out of say 5 afros, how many of them actually don't get it sponged?
That's rare.
So 0 to 1.
Yeah.
So everybody wants texture now. Everybody wants to have a style, but still feel free at the same time. Okay. So you already talked about why barbering, and how you kind of transitioned over into manhood and to taking on a skill or craft like barbering. What does the present look like? Because in your story, I've heard a lot of great things that I feel like can be translated to other barbers. So what does the present of barbering look like for you?
It was just a handful. It wasn't as popular. The prices even changed. The barber school. I went to barber school for $3,000. You're looking at $10,000 now. So it's a high demand on it. It's a real high demand, and it looks promising, but you got to be sincere about it. You got to be sincere. You got to dedicate yourself to the craft. You just can't say I cut hair, because barbering is almost like preaching to a certain extent, because many are called but few are chosen.
That's
because you grab a pair of clippers, that don't make you a barber.
Right.
But if you're serious about the barbering, I could see a big deal in the future for it growing, continue to grow. Because first of all, I don't believe it's going anywhere.
Right.
Because one thing about black people, we are serious about how we look. I don't care if it's busted on the top. I need a sharp line.
Right.
So I don't really see it going anywhere. But the guys got to be serious about it if you're gonna do it, because people are trusting you. People trust you for the way that you make them look. That speaks in volume. Because you ain't gonna just get in my head just doing anything.
Right?
You're not gonna do that. But
as far as like barbering schools right now, do you feel like they're putting out the right type of information to produce positive, productive barbers?
Well, I noticed last time I went down to barber school, the dress code had slightly changed. You just can't come in there any kind of way. At one point in time, you could.
You could just wear whatever you want.
Yeah, you could wear.
Okay.
Yeah, you could, but that's a good thing, because presentation means a lot in the business. But I feel the barbering schools could tighten up a little bit for us, the instructions, the teaching, because some people are just in it for the money. Excuse me. Versus, this kid don't have a clue about cutting hair. You want he or she to know something when they leave. Yeah, because some of the guys, they come in the barbershop, fresh out of barber school, and really don't know much. It's almost like leaving barber school, coming back to barber school. Yeah, because you have to give instructions, show them different things, because the barber school is different from the real world. Yeah. Just like I tell the little guys when they come in, I say, listen here, man, when you come in here, you're on the stage. You ain't in barber school no more. You got to make this thing count. So I feel they need to do a little bit more instructing, just a little bit more.
Instructing in the way of business structure, instructing in the way of skill set, or all of the above?
All the above, because when as a barber, it's a certain way to present yourself. Okay, that, and then being confident in what you're doing,
And the other thing that you said that I wanted you to point out is you rather wait on your client instead of your client waiting on you.
Yeah. But that's going back, to the structure. You want to be waiting on your client. You don't want your client waiting on you. People have things to do, but you want to be there to provide your service, and being prompt, on time. It makes a big difference. It really makes a difference.
So what do you think about barbershops right now? Have you gone to any other barbershops in the last year or two? And just to see a difference? I'm sure you rode past them.
The last barbershop I went into, it made me feel good, because the way we run our barbershop is totally different. Totally different. Some of the barbershops I went into, not knocking none of the barbershops out there, because, you have different sets of clientele. But
and everybody's in their own stage of growth.
Yeah. And but first of all, you want your client to be comfortable. You want he or she, because you're not going to always have young clients. You're not going to always have gangster clients. You're going to have some professional people that comes into that barbershop, and you want everybody to be comfortable. You can't, in our barbershop, there's no profanity. Okay, you might have a slip every now and again, but it's easy to correct it. But you can't just be loud and obnoxious in the barbershop. You can't be smoking blunts outside the barbershop. You can't do that. It's things like that pushes professional people away. And you want a solid clientele. Everybody's somebody. So but it's a way to conduct yourself. And that makes a big difference. It really does.
So what about the actual barber these days? Okay, we talked about the barbershops, we talked about the barber schools. What do you see in the present day that, well, you kind of mentioned a lot of it too, profanity, dressing properly, not waiting on your client, not having your clients wait on you. But is there anything else as far as the individual barbers that you see that could be tweaked and made?
That's going back to personality, to me, because see, you got in every barbershop you have so many personalities. There's always a goof off in the barbershop. You're gonna always have that character, and so it's hard to say. But see, the main thing is doing that job.
That's it.
You got to do the job. You got to do the job. You can't really check and correct every personality that comes in, because you want everybody to be themselves. Because if you ever looked at a barbershop, if you ever really examined and looked at a barbershop, the type of people, the type of barber that you have, he's gonna attract those type of people.
That's a fact. That's even in the lock industry too.
So therefore, you can't really change the people, because you let them be themselves. But long as they do that job, this man is silly, but he putting out some crisp work, and that's what you want.
So basically, what I'm getting from this conversation is that the industry as a whole, if we add a little more structure and allow people to be who they are, but always focus on producing efficiently and with the excellence, we'll be good.
Yeah, you want the quality. You want quality over quantity. You know, you got guys that come in sometimes and want to cut a head hair in 10 minutes. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. You can't dot the I's across T's like that because ain't no mistakes allowed in cutting hair. Now, you could mess up something and possibly correct it, but you want perfection. You know, you can't put it back. Once
Right.
it's done, you can't put it
There's
back.
no need to mess
No.
up when you don't have to.
No, you don't have to. So, you know, I'd rather have that quality over quantity any day.
So what's the main difference from the day you first cut your hair to today? Where did you say that you grew at the most? From the first head to the last one you did this past Saturday. What is the difference between you then and now?
Of course, I'm comfortable with what I do. I used to be nervous when I first started. But
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was
I
nervous.
remember nerves too, yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous, but now I spend more time on detail more than ever, because detail to me is what really puts that it speaks in volume when it comes to a haircut. You can have a messed up haircut almost, but if you got a sharp line and it's detailed properly and everything's even, you know, for your hairline, and that makes a difference. I pay a lot of attention to my detail, you know. I
So
believe
you
I
saying
do.
you didn't then? You were
I
just
did.
kind of knocking out haircuts?
I did, but see, I was hungry. I was if I can do this one, I can do that. You know, I was counting my heads. See, I don't count anymore.
Right.
I don't count anymore.
That's a point. I
Yeah.
would like to say that one for me too.
I don't
As you
count
grow
anymore.
in your
Yeah.
craft, you don't have to count no more. It's not
No,
about counting.
It's not counting. You know, you just trying to more or less make sure that everybody's done right. You want that client to come back and you want them to talk about it. You know, you want someone to say, who did that? And you know, that's a word of mouth advertisement. You want them to come back. So I pay attention to my detail.
I just thought about something, and we didn't have this on our list, but how important do you think it is having business cards?
Business cards is important to me, you know, because I'm old school, first of all, and that's an icebreaker to me for, you know, presenting yourself. Because if you present yourself, you know, professionally, hey, my name is Marlow. I like to give you an invitation to my barbershop, you know, and
Is that how you do it? When you
in
talk to
some
somebody, you
cases,
say, I would like to give you an invitation.
Can I give you an invitation to the barbershop? Well, you saying my hair don't look, no, it looks good. I feel like I can do a little bit better though. You know,
Okay.
You know, you know.
That's simple, right?
Yeah, just that simple. That's the way I make it to be, you know.
Do you even have Instagram?
Yes, I do. I have Instagram.
Do you use it for barbering?
No,
Have you ever, since it's come out, used
No.
it for barbering?
no.
How important is it for our next generation to understand that they can't live through a computer screen
Well,
when it comes to building clientele? I say.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That can go both ways because, see, by me being seasoned in what I do, people, they hear about me, they know about me. But in this new generation, I believe the Instagram and your social media will be a good benefit for the up and coming generation, because that's their generation. That's what they do, you know. So therefore, it'll play a bigger part in them as well as me, because I actually need to tighten up my game and get out there, you know, into the social media with the advertisement and, you know, of my work as well as the business. But I feel old school, it don't hurt. It don't hurt. It does not hurt, because you always got to stick to don't ever forget the root, the base of it. You know, the base, if the base brought everybody this far, I can't see where it could go wrong, even with a little enhancement of the social media, things of that nature, because you got to, you know, the advertisement is very important, but face-to-face can sometimes be better. You know, that's where the business cards come in at.
Yeah. Let me just add a little bit to that, because when I started in 2008, it was like at the cusp of Facebook and Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
They came like 3 years later, so business cards was everything to me at that point. I mean, I passed out probably 1,000 business cards my first 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't see the value in that, but when a person walks in and say, I got this about 6 months ago and I wanted to come check you out, I'm like, yeah, come on in. I mean, even to this day, I have gotten a call from a business card that was 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
or whether they found me on Instagram or whatever. But that Instagram and Facebook did change the game.
Yeah, it did.
It really put me personally in a position where, you know, I was able to learn how to maximize off of having social media. Yet and still, it's nothing like talking to people face to face. It's gonna, because once that person comes in and sits in your chair, you've already broken through any trust barriers because you've already met them. And if everybody you meet is straight off of the computer, it becomes like I don't know, like just a rotating chair. Do we get to know each other? What do you ask for?
You don't know who actually coming in.
You don't know who coming in. No
you don't
clue.
Have a clue, so.
Yeah, especially with the online scheduling. So we were at social media. So I think social media really put me in a position to be able to teach at Bronner Brothers, you know, travel the world with my craft, meet other locticians. I never, in the beginning, I didn't go in trying to find clients, because that's not how I was introduced as far as like being a little bit older than the social media age people. But I was more in the energy of networking. How can I take this business, this brand, and make it bigger? Because I guess that goes back to not count customers anymore, you know. Because once you get out of the count and realize that you're here to provide a service, in most cities it's at least 400,000 people there. So, and some more than that. Charlotte is up to 2 million now. So you're never in competition, really.
It's enough to go around.
It's enough to go around.
It's definitely enough to go around.
So yeah, comfort. But social media, I feel like it can be used for something greater. But it's great for customers too, so I'm not knocking nobody else. Anyhow, so we've talked about trends. We've talked about why you started barbering. We've talked about what does the president of barbering, barber schools, barbershops look like. Now, tell us more about New Generation.
Well, of course, you know, it's new generation where looking good is understood.
Well, looking good is understood. Who came up with that? You or your dad? You.
Nah, the barbershop, new generation is just what it is. It's the new generation because, you know, the old stuff is passing away and the new stuff is coming in. And, you know, a lot of the kids that come down, you know, a lot of good kids, but, you know, I look and I laugh because I said, dang, things have changed the way kids act, the way they talk, you know, but that new generation. But at our barbershop.
Where is it located?
Oh, we're at 2723 Farmall Street here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And our barbershop is mainly for the kids. We used to have a game room and all that stuff, you know. But,
really?
Yeah, we had a game room in there at one point in time. But the video games changed. That's when your PlayStations and all that stuff started coming out. So, you know, the little slot machine, quarter machines, and that was out the window. So we done away with that.
Kids still like that?
Yeah, but it's a different ball game out there now, the video games. But we try to. I know, for the kids that come through, you try to be, when the opportunity presents itself, you know, you that role model. You know, that mentor, that barber, because there's more to it than just cutting the hair. You know, you tend to almost be like a big brother to some of the little guys that come through because they tend to look up to you. And I feel our barbershop really does that more than others. Not knocking other barbershops, because some of them do, some of them don't. But for one, new generation, we do cater to our kids. We cater more to them. You know.
Wonderful. Anything else? When did you open? When did y'all open?
We opened in 1994.
Okay.
Yeah.
So New Generations has been around since 1994.
Yeah.
Y'all coming up on 30 years.
31. January.
Wow.
Yeah. 31 years.
Okay.
It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a good time, though. It's been a good time because, you know, yeah, you've seen a lot of kids grow up from baby seats to grown men in college with children, and they're still coming back. So, you know, it's been a good time, and you see things. You know, in the line of work, you see things and you hear things. So, you know, when you see positive things like that for us, you know, when you see a little boy turn into a grown man and he grows up to be respectful and making something out of himself, that says a lot. And then for them to respect you, it speaks even louder, because I said, dang, man, I had a part in this man's life, or this young man's life, you know, and that makes you feel good. It makes you feel good if you're serious about what you're doing. And I consider myself as being serious about what I do.
Lovely. Well, do you have anything else you want to share, Mr. Marlow Rousseau?
Well, if you're in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, come see me at New Generation Barbershop. What looking good is understood.
Well, looking good is understood. All right, thank you for keeping it locked, and catch us next time.